All right. All right, how y'all doing? Woo! She's got a bag of Cheetos over there, so I'm liable to sneak over there and get me a Cheeto puff in a minute. All right. So tonight we're going to start a lesson. We're not going to get too deep tonight. I'm already going to have to start moving people. So next Wednesday, somebody take a picture of all the sections. Next Wednesday, I'm going to have assigned seats. Come in. I can't put them together. I would say boy, girl, but it looks like they about got it going on, so that ain't going to work. I'm going to have to separate and divide and conquer. All right? So really excited about this series. This series is a lot longer than we will probably spend on it. The series in general is about 60 weeks. I don't even know if I could pay attention that long. I got about 60 seconds to about 75 seconds, but that's about it. But anyway, so let's go to the Lord in prayer, and then we're gonna jump right in, hit some real high spots. It's not that I don't think that you guys know what I'm going to speak tonight, but I have to say what I'm going to say tonight to give us a base level, okay? Because there are some people in here that may not know certain terminology. And what I had to do is when I went into the first lesson, and again, if you want to, I better not say that, because then, by 7 a.m. in the morning, Tammy will be all the way through the whole 26,000 lessons. She will stay up all night. But I will say it because I know y'all love to learn. If you are interested in learning or going ahead or doing more work, 2 rules. 1, you can't critique my teaching of it because I'm not John Hagee. I don't have that kind of expertise. He's been doing it a few years. He's 84, so he's been doing it a few years longer than me. And he's did it specifically. He's preached specifically on Israel for a long time. This will be probably only the second time in 24 years that I have singled out Israel as a teaching component. Okay? So that's one. You can't come in here and say, oh, did you know John Hagee said this? I probably know it, but I didn't feel that it would work because I know where I'm going next week, and you may not. So, but it is the cheapest online course you can take. It's $14, and you can do it all online. All you got to do is go to CUFI, C-U-F-I, CUFI, C-U-F-I, Christians United for Israel.org, and then go down to the Learn, and it's called the Israel course. Okay, now that'll give you, I know $14, I get it, guys. That's for any amount of money right now. That's an hour's labor for a lot of people, maybe a couple of hours labor for some. But $14 is not that bad, okay? So if you want to get deeper, I'm telling you now, this is rule number 2. I'm not going to go as deep as that course goes because it will take us all into a place real deep. But if you're interested in learning more about the Christian Jewish connection and things of that nature, I told our class this is a great way to look at it. If you want to, I'm going to do the 30,000 feet flyover. Okay, so y'all, if you've ever flown, you know. Hey, when do you go? When do you fly? Yeah. Aren't you going somewhere? When? September. Okay. Pray. I knew I've been praying for you along the way, but when you go, you get 30,000 feet high. I can tell if there's a body of water down there. I can tell if a house has a swimming pool. Right? I may not can tell if it has a diving board, and I don't know how deep the water is. Right? You take this course, it's not going to get you down on ground level, but if I'm at 30,000, it's going to get you down to about 15 or 20,000. So now you're going to be able to tell if it's got a deep end, a shallow end, and things of that nature. So it's probably not going to get some of you as deep as you want to go, but it will help, all right? So CUFI, Christians United for Israel.org, and then look at the menu and go down to learning, and it's called the Israel course, the Israel course. So when I began to study out the last, probably last month, I got the materials when we went to D.C., so we've been back for 3 weeks, maybe, whatever. So for the last 3 weeks, been studying it out. And then when it's studying it out, the very first chapter had some terms in it that I want to lay a groundwork for. Is that okay? There's things that it says that honestly, and again, I'm not saying that we're dumb people. I'm just saying I know these terms because I went to college and went through church history and everything. But a lot of people don't know these terms, and they're being peppered throughout our news cycles now, like so everybody should know exactly what it means. Like Islam. Y'all have heard of Islam. Y'all have heard of the caliphate. Y'all have heard that on the news some. We've heard of jihad. You've heard of that. That's a holy war, right? Judaism, that word. Christianity, of course, we know that, right? And things of that nature. So tonight, I'm going to take a few moments and I'm going to define a couple of those for us, and then I'm going to let you go, and then next week we're going to start diving into the Jewish-Christian connection. All right? Let me say unequivocally that we are pro-Israel. Yes. All right? You don't have to be to go to church here, but your bishop is pro-Israel. All right? Now, if you want to talk politics, then that's going to cost you at least, a steak or something. You got to go take me out to dinner and talk to me, and I will talk politics because that's a little different than what we're going to talk about. If you want to know, if you start coming at me and saying, well, don't you feel bad for the Palestinians, and don't you want to free the Palestinians, and we are Hamas and we are here. That's what they're chanting on the streets of America right now. Now, there's a difference, let me say this politically. Oh boy, I'm about to get tore up from the flow up. And politically, you need to understand when they say the words Hamas and when they say the words Palestine, they say them in sort of like they're the same thing. They're not. The Palestinians are not the same thing as Hamas. Okay? Does everybody understand that? If you don't, I'll go a little bit deeper in that. Anybody want me to go just a hair deeper in that? I will. Everybody good with that? Y'all know exactly what that means, right? Hamas, you want me to finish it? So Hamas, the Palestinians, watch this. The Palestinians who live in Palestine, okay? They are trying to gain refugee status in Palestine. Here is the problem. It would be like me trying to claim refugee status at the State Department for the United States of America. Sounds crazy, don't it? Why? Because I was born here, okay? Palestinians were born in Palestine, and they're still trying to get refugee status so that they can get special things, okay? So that. Next, Hamas is an Iranian-backed militant terrorist group. Thank you. I was wanting to say that, but that's what they are. They get their money from Iran. They are funded from Iran. And they are using the area of Palestine to fire rockets into Israel. And that's what happened October 7th. So you have to be okay with separating those two. You have to be okay with separating what Hamas is doing from the Palestinians who live in the area. Now, can I say this, go one step further? There are some Palestinians that are joining forces with Hamas and helping them. So they're not all innocent in this, right? But that does not mean that we should just go willy-nilly and try to kill everybody in Palestine. But it does mean that there are some bad actors. Just like in 9/11, 2001, there were some bad actors here in the United States, right? And they attacked. And they are the ones who are using schools. When you hear this stuff about, well, Israel, the IDF, the Israel Defense Army, and all of those, when they bombed a school, I can't believe it. And everybody over here in America is losing their ever-loving mind about it. But what they won't tell you is that the leader of Hamas was in the basement of that school, and they were using the school children as shields to keep them from fighting. They are the ones who are using the Palestinians as shields. They're using their women, they're using their children, and that's why they're using their hospitals. And they have built all these tunnels up under the Palestinian area, and they built them, and they build their bunkers under hospitals, schools, and in high capacity or high populous places, thinking that we'll do our work up under here and they'll never bomb us and we'll just keep coming up long enough to shoot a rocket off or something, then we go back underground, right? Here's the thing that you have to understand. Anytime a sovereign country is attacked, I'm about to get out of the politics of it, okay? And I'm not saying you got to believe the way I do politically. I'm just telling you this is how I feel, and this is where I'm going to come from when I teach this. Anytime a sovereign country, whether it's Israel, whether it's America, gets attacked, I believe they have every right at that point to stop who's attacking them and to protect themselves. 9/11, over 3,000 souls were killed in New York City. Innocent people that had nothing to do with the Holy War. When you have war, people die. Innocent people die in a war. I don't like it. My heart breaks. I hate it. Because there are innocent Palestinian people who are having to die because of them people. But we got to annihilate them so that future generations don't have to deal with it. Just pushing them out isn't going to do nothing but allow them to get back out, regroup, and come right back in. Now, if you really want to hear what I got to say about it, buy me a taco up at El Jimador. Or a hamburger at Arnold's. I'm sorry. Lord, that spirit's done jumped off her straight on to him. All right, here we go. So tonight, I told them guys that they got to be done by 7:30. It's second week of school for y'all, first for us, second or third week for y'all. Poor Angel's already asleep. Did she go back to school? You go back to school. You had to get them up, aren't you? Yeah, I know. I know. I'm gonna be out myself. All right, here we're going to define a couple of things, and I don't want you to think that I'm being facetious. I want you to hear the true definition. The first definition that I want to define for you is a word called Christianity. What do we mean when we say Christianity? And it's important that you understand this, because when we start getting into Jews and Muslims, or Jews and Muslims, or Islam and Judaism, you're going to see a slight twist. How's the bionic shoulder doing? It's there. You know it's there, don't you? Yeah. Sorry, if y'all are we online? Okay. Sorry, I'm fellowshipping. So Christianity is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion. Are y'all going to try to write this down? That's your girl. If y'all wondering what we're laughing at, she said, I got Abraham. Christianity is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion based on the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. All right? Let's work this out. Everybody know who Abraham is? Father Abraham. Oh, sorry. All right, that's Abraham, right? If you're watching this, they sang Father Abraham real quick. All right, we're going to have a lot of fun with these. I hope y'all keep coming. All right, watch this. Christian, and I've already set up, Pastor Richard's going to preach a topic, I don't know, on Israel maybe, but I know that I'm going to give him a topic and let him have 4 or 5 Wednesdays and roll at it, okay? So this ain't just going to be me. I don't want y'all to get bored with me. Christianity is the Abrahamic monotheistic religion based on the life and teaching of Jesus Christ. Unpack that, okay? Christianity is an Abrahamic faith, okay? That means we can trace our roots as a Christian all the way back to Abraham, okay? We are an Abrahamic faith. Now, something's going to shock you here in just a few minutes when we get a little further. We are an Abrahamic faith, right? All the way back to Father Abraham. Secondly, monotheistic. Anybody know what that is? One God. Not many, one. And we've already taught here that as this church, we believe in one God eternally existing in 3 persons, namely the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. We are Trinitarian here at Judah. All right? We are an Abrahamic monotheistic religion based on specifically the life and the teachings of Jesus Christ. All right? That means that we believe Jesus Christ was the Messiah. We believe that he is the only begotten Son of the Father, that he was born of a Virgin Mary, that he lived a sinless life, he was crucified, he was buried, and he rose again on the 3rd day, and he showed himself to over 500 people in a 40-day span after they saw him dead. Which means if you don't believe he rose from the dead, you believe in mass hypnosis, meaning that they got 500 people. Can I just preach here just a second? They got 500 people. If he did not die, if he was not raised from the dead, they somehow, these ragtag band of 11 men now, because Judas has turned his back on them, they got 500 people to lie for them. And here's the craziest part of it. Who were the first people to see him gone? Mary. Mary went to the tomb. In that day, if you wanted people to believe your lie, the last thing you would do, no offense, ladies, but the last thing you would do in that day is use women as the first people to start testifying of your resurrection. Because, why? Because women were not believed a lot of times in that day. And that you would have gotten one of the rulers, one of the leaders. You would have got Nicodemus or someone like that to go to the tomb and make sure, because he was a lawyer in that day. He stood in the halls, and he was a priest and a lawyer by that. And he stood in the halls and he knew these things. If I was God, I'd have used, but he used women. And it went all over. So that's another thing. Okay, Islam. Islam, what is that? Now watch this. You're going to see something really cool-ish. Islam is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion. Did y'all hear that? Islam is, you're at Abraham, right? No, it's the same thing. Just rewrite that. It is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion, meaning Islam believes in the Abrahamic faith, and they believe in one God. Now watch. Then it says, centered on the Quran and the teachings of Muhammad, the religion's founder. All right? So watch this. They are walking side by side. And this is what I want you to see tonight if you don't see nothing else. They are walking side by side. Now, we'll get to where they part in a second. Now, Judaism. 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 Judaism is an Abrahamic monotheistic religion that believes in one God. So do you see what's happening here? You have the Jews, you have the Muslims, and you have the Christians. All believe and trace their roots back to Abraham, right? They all believe in one God, right? And they have differences in where they trace it to. Christians trace it through the life and teachings of Jesus Christ. Muslims chase it through the life and teachings of Muhammad. And the Jews bypass both of those and go straight to Abraham. All right, are you with me? Islam, like Judaism, are both, here's what I want you to see. Both of them are not only a religion, but a cultural identity. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean, for Muslims and Jews, their religion shapes their cultural identity. If you are a strict practicing Jew, or if you are a strict practicing Muslim, it affects even your cultural identity. How you wear your head, what clothes you wear. We were in D.C. the other day, and there were some Jews. I'm not going to get into the type of Jews, but there were some Jews that were protesting the conference that we were at, and they had I can't remember what they call it, but they had the little hair that come down, and they had the prayer tassels that were there. And Corbin asked me, I said, those are Jews. He said, how do you know? Because their religion has now began to identify them culturally. That's something that we brought over as Christians for a while. Used to, you could tell different types of Christians, whether they were Baptists, especially the holiness folk, you still could tell some of them different because of the way they dress. It identifies them culturally. Okay, that's what I mean by that. So when we start talking, oh yeah, I'm doing good, man, shoot, fire. When we start talking about, we'll get into some of the differences later on, but when we start talking about these three specific religions, when I started doing this study, I didn't want to get too far ahead because I didn't want to start talking about Christianity and Islam and Judaism, and somebody would be like, what in the world is Judaism? You know, what does that really mean? What is that? That's the religion of the Jews, okay? So for this teaching series, when we're talking about the Israel course, when we talk about Christianity, that's who we are. Who do we chase our beliefs through? The life and teachings of Jesus Christ, right? Now, I'm going to throw you a curveball. Are you ready? Woo, at least you know it's coming. There are some Messianic Jews. All right? There are some Messianic Jews. And that means those are Jews who still hold real strongly to their Jewish faith, but they have received Jesus as the Messiah. But they still hold. Now, we receive Jesus as the Messiah, but we don't hold. But you can find them peppered in almost every congregation. Certain Christians who like to participate in some of the Jewish meals and some of the Jewish customs and things of that nature. I've gone to a few Jewish meals and things of that nature, right? So I want you to understand, even with Islam, Christianity, and even with Jews, you have a little breakout of those people in there. So when we start talking about this, I don't want you to get bogged down and say, well, I know a guy that's Jewish and he believes Jesus is the Messiah. Well, I know some Pentecostals that are bald. Why did everybody look? Don't look over at Stephen. Tommy. All right, any questions so far? I don't mind if you ask a couple. I just need to be able to repeat them to the people online. Any questions so far? Any questions about anything that's going on in our world right now? I may not connect, huh? We ain't going there? Stay away from that. Any questions? So we have Christianity. I'm taking a little time on this because I want to get this down, because when we start taking off, you're going to start hearing words about these that's going to, make cause your brain to sort of freeze up. There's another book. If you're one of these book nerds like I am, there's another book. If you want to get it, then I want you to pick it up. You can get it on Kindle, easier than anything. I do have a hard copy. I'm not sure it's still in print. It may be. Some of you that's been here for a while probably already have it. You've heard me talk about it. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it will in just a moment. It will in just a moment. If you're watching online, she asked, does this tie into Isaac and Ishmael? It will here in just a second. And then I'm going to say a couple of things, and I'm going to let you go. So there's another book. If you want to get it, I think you get it pretty cheap on Kindle. It's an amazing book. It is not it's an easy read, but it's not a read from cover to cover. It's a reference book, and it's by a guy by the name of Josh McDowell. Okay? Josh McDowell years ago was a phenomenal youth guy. He spoke to youth groups all the time. And that's where I got this book. And the book's title, now it is a little bit dated. I'm going to go ahead and tell you this because I think Josh McDowell, I don't know if he's still alive or not. Somebody look that up. See how, he's probably 122 by now. He's 84, so he ain't that old. Is he still alive? Yeah, it feels like, is he still alive? Okay, so there he is. So Josh McDowell, he's got a book out called A Ready Defense. Okay? It is a reference book for apologetics. All right? It's a great book. It is a phenomenal book. How many of you enjoy, y'all want me to give you one more book? Some of y'all already have it. You ready? You want this one, Knowing the Doctrines. Get this one on tape don't, because you don't want to hear this one on tape. It's a reference book too. It's called Knowing the Doctrines. Y'all may already have it. Knowing the Doctrines by Meyer Pearlman. All of the class that's taken the Judah School of Leadership, they already have that book. I'm just giving you some books that I have referenced preparing for this. So, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Now, she brought up a great point, and this is the last thing I want to leave with you tonight. Oh, man, I'm too fast. I need to talk slower so that I don't get too far ahead of myself. Tommy, all my Judah School of Leadership people are over here probably. Tommy's praying that I'm going to go down a rabbit trail in about 3, 2, 1. Every time we have a school here, and they're taking it, and I get to talking, and Tommy sits there and prays that I go off on a rabbit trail because that's what he likes the most, because I get wound up and take off. You learn more? Well, so here it is, and this is sort of the last thing. I'm getting done real early. I know it, but listen to this. If you were in college, you'd be loving the fact that we were getting out of class early, see? All right, watch this. This is what I want you to hear. It all traces back to Abraham trying to speed up God's plan. Okay? If you don't know that story, Abraham, God had given him a word that I'm going to make you the father of many nations. And Abraham and Sarah had not had a child. They were getting well up in years. They didn't want to miss God's blessing, and there's a really good sermon right here for some of you to listen to that feel like you need to help God all the time. He don't need your help, and I know you tired of waiting. I'm going to preach to somebody right now. I know it's Teach Wednesday, but I'm going to preach right now to somebody because I know you tired of waiting. I know you tired of being on God's timing, but let me tell you something. Even when God is 3 days late, he's always on time. You see, and what happened was Abraham and Sarah, they came to an agreement that Sarah would give Abraham one of her concubines, one of her servant girls, to try to speed things up. They were saying, well, we can't do this. God promised it. We need to help God out. And so he slept with her. Oh, sorry for the kids. He slept with her. They had a child. That child's name was Ishmael. Right after that, because how many of you know God, it ain't funny, but sometimes God then shows up, right? And when he showed up, Sarah got pregnant, and they had a child by the name of Isaac. And according to the Bible, God said Isaac was the promised son. And that's where it all began. The Muslims believe that the promise goes to the firstborn, no matter who the mama was. And God said no. And that's where it all got started. That's a simple way of putting it. So, with that being said, I'm going to tell you one more thing, and then we're going to leave. You ready? It's never going to be settled until God shows back up. I don't know that y'all believe that, because you believe your politicians that we're going to ask for a ceasefire, and then we're going to have peace talks, and we're going to have a two-state nation, and as long as the Palestinians get what they want, and as long as Israel gets what they want, I'm going to tell you something that I told you a couple of weeks ago, okay, that I learned. I don't know how I missed it. I knew it, but how many of you have known something, and then when you hear it, you go, oh, yeah, I heard it. In 2000, somewhere around, no, it was later than that. I don't remember the date. It just escaped me. But former President Bill Clinton called the heads of both Israel and Palestine together at Camp David, had a talk, and he offered Arafat, wasn't it? That's who it was? Y'all say Arafat, huh? You're older than me, Paul. Y'all know this? By a year. It was Arafat. Yeah. So he offered, Bill Clinton, on behalf of the then president, offered him 96% of everything that he wanted. When he did that, the leader at that time, and I can't remember his name, it wasn't Netanyahu. Y'all not helping me. Gosh. Whatever. You've looked at it 4 times and I got you on camera. You always got one. Huh? Barack. I don't know why, but I kept thinking Barack, and I was thinking Obama, but it was Barack and Arafat came together with Bill Clinton. He gave them like 96% of what the Palestinians were asking for. When he did that, Barack came and said, we'll give you the rest. Gave him 100% of what they were asking for, and in less than 1 single minute, they turned it down just like that. And that proves that I don't care who the president is, they don't want peace. They don't. They're not going to be satisfied till they get it all, because they believe that they deserve it all. Now, I want to read a quote real quick. It says, Clinton blamed Arafat after the failure of the talks, stating, I regret that in 2000, Arafat missed the opportunity to bring that nation into being, and pray for the day when the dreams of the Palestinian people for a state and a better life will be realized in a just and lasting peace. Years later, when Arafat was stepping down, he sent word to Bill Clinton about his appreciation for all of the years of camaraderie that he had had. And you can go Google and find out what Bill Clinton said back to him. Go Google it, trust me. I'm not going to say that here, but go Google it. He didn't cuss, but it was real strong words to him, because I think that he realized then. Why is this important? Well, as we began to go in our nation in and of itself has its own problems. Are you hearing me? We got a lot of problems that we need to be dealing with right here in our own back door. But we cannot deal with our problems here while we completely mess up all of the problems that we have between Israel. Not even talking about that. Israel is the only ally we have in that whole region complete, that have our back. And if we keep talking like we're talking, when we start talking about embargo deals, when we start talking about holding up arms and not allowing them to fight, when we start telling them how to fight, we're not telling, listen, let me tell you something. If somebody, can I just talk plain? If somebody come up to Richard Pace and slapped him upside the back of the head, and hurt him, and then Richard turned around to protect himself, and then I come up behind him and go, hold on, before y'all start, come here, Richard, I'm gonna tie you, I'm gonna put your hands behind your back and tie them. And then I want you, is that being a friend? I just don't want you to offend them people. I don't want you to hurt them people. Well, you should have come up and slapped him in the back of the head. Now, that's not being anti-Christian. That's just being somebody that protects. And people say all the time, well, God told us to do this and this. Listen, the first thing God said is he said, I want you to go to Jerusalem, then to Judea, then to the uttermost parts of the world. What am I telling you? I'm telling you they're never going to be satisfied until they get everything for themselves. And it's always going to be a problem. Amen? All minds and hearts clear? All right, stand up on your feet. Hallelujah. Offering. Boy, I like them people that remind me of offerings. Boy, since I almost forgot offering, I need y'all to dig deeper. Dig a little deeper in the well of God's love. All right, my ushers can come real quick. Support him while you're in the ambulance from heat exhaustion. All right. Father, right now in the name of Jesus, I pray blessings over this offering. I pray blessings over the gift and the giver. And we love you and thank you for it all. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you as you give. All right, lift up your hands and let me bless you real quick. May the Lord bless you and keep you, make his face shine upon you. Bless you coming in, bless you going out. Go with God, and you can't ever go wrong. God bless you.